I realize when I'm going through my notes, especially if it's something I haven't done for a little while, that maybe certain things kind of fit together a little better. And so this handout is actually a new one that I just put together. And I realized, hey, I've got these, the original plan was we're going to talk a lot about puppet stamen today. And then I think on the syllabus I actually had Smolen and Texas transfers, all part of our no-trump systems refinement that we want to work on. I thought, well, I was like, and then I looked at my notes, I thought, well, garbage stamen kind of fits in here, and it's pretty short topic to discuss. I'm like, we really could devote the day to all things, these are stamen variations, everything that we're talking about today. And so I think I will hold back Texas transfers, which is not a real long discussion either. It's pretty simple. But I think next week we're supposed to be getting into minor suit transfers. And so I thought, all right, well, Texas transfers kind of fits in with that better. So basically all we did was, distill the stamen stuff and the transfer stuff. So today it's going to be all stamen stuff. And what this really revolves around is an age-old debate that was going on before I started playing. And people still ask me about this all the time.
Like us.
And balance. All right. And so that is this ongoing debate of, okay, I have 15 to 17 balanced, and I also have a 5-card major. What do I do with this hand? Do I open the major or do I open a no trump? And when we're talking about this particular hand type, we actually know the exact hand pattern. Because if you have a 5-card suit, the only way the hand is truly balanced is if you are 3-3-2 in the other suits. If we start moving things around any more than that, then we're 5-4-2-2, or we have a singleton or something like that, and then no trump is presumably out of the picture as far as an opening bid. So, and I had forgotten about kind of a funny story from the Bridge Club and Bridge community in Kansas City. I find it kind of funny. This was sort of an uproar that was, well, so when I started playing, bidding boxes were not universal. So I think they already had them at most tournaments, because I feel like the first tournament I went to, every table had bidding boxes. Not every club had bidding boxes. So the club in Kansas City, there were some people, I think, who owned their own, who brought them. I think the unit owned some. But you'd go through a game, duplicate game, and some tables had bidding boxes and some didn't. Of course, now it's absolutely standard everywhere you go, unless you're just playing at home and you don't have bidding boxes at home. So there's a unit newsletter, and a guy that I had just met by the name of Fred Dishman. And admittedly, if you know Fred, the article that he wrote for this unit newsletter was pretty clear what his intent was. The article was called Proper Use of Bidding Boxes. And he talked about he said, one of the age-old dilemmas is this, right? What do you do with this hand? And so he said, well, when you're using your bidding box, he said, it's very simple. He's like, you can do both. He said, what if you have 5 hearts and a balanced hand? He said, well, you open a heart, and then if you just have a minimum hand, on your rebid, like partner bids a spade or something like that, you cascade your bids normally, just like that, right? Like we normally do. He said, but if you have the 15 to 17 balanced, when you rebid one no, what you do is you place the one no directly on top of the heart to obscure it, and now we know you have 15 to 17. Obviously, this is illegal. It is unauthorized information. It is blatant cheating. And you didn't have to read very far into the article, and the whole article was kind of on this theme. And frankly, anybody with half a brain would know that he was being facetious. However, apparently a few people did not, and just went crazy, and they wrote letters to the unit, And the local club director, got all upset about it. And so then they had to, issue this follow-up letter saying, this was just a joke. We thought everybody would get the joke. Sorry if you didn't, Obviously, Fred is not proposing that you all cheat now that we have bidding boxes, right? So, and, the history of cheating in bridge goes back well before bidding boxes, right? Yeah, they were, do you open one club or do you open a club? Could be different meanings, right? So, anyhow, I was reminded of that story and thought you might enjoy it. But this is, this is a hand that presents a bit of a problem. And this here is a good example of that problem hand. I'm already feeling like I don't like these new markers. So, so something like this. You have 16 high card points. Your 5-3-3-2. Your 5-card suit is hearts. So we ask the question: do you open a heart or do you open a no trump? And generally, this is a matter of partnership style, partnership agreement. But what I would ask you is, if your agreement is that you would not normally open a no trump with a 5-card major, and you choose to open that hand a heart, or you just kind of spaced out and didn't realize that you could have or should have opened a no trump, what I would ask you is this: when your partner responds one spade, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
You see the problem that you're confronted with? And I always tell people, like, before you open the bidding at all, start thinking about your second bid. Plan your rebid before you make your first bid. That way you don't, hopefully you don't get yourself into a jam, or at least when it comes back around, if the worst case scenario, the most problematic bid the partner can give you does in fact appear, at least you have a plan, right or wrong, so that, just saying be ready for it. Okay, so this is a problem, right? Because if partner bids a spade, you don't have a good rebid. If you rebid one no trump, that would show that you're balanced, but that would also show 12 to 14 points, a minimum, and you have 16. So you're too good for that. On the other hand, if you jump to 2 no, you're showing 18, 19, and you're not strong enough for that. So both of those bids are flawed. You don't want to rebid your hearts because you only have 5, not 6. You obviously can't raise partner spades with only a doubleton. And so you find yourself doing something weird like bidding 2 clubs on a 3-card suit, which I suppose is the least of the lies, but it still is problematic because now you're saying, well, I have 5 hearts and at least 4 clubs, and your partner thinks you have a distributional hand, not a balanced hand. Basically, you open a heart and you've given yourself all sorts of issues with this hand. So for the most part, even if it were not your agreement, like even if I was playing with someone who says, I don't like opening a no trump with a 5-card major, I would still open a no trump with that hand, just to avoid the rebid problem. So, you might say, okay, well, if it's just that easy, and if that's the only real way to avoid the rebid problem, what's the problem? What's the issue? Why don't I just do that and call it good, right? And while I still think it is the best thing to do, I want to give you a companion hand to that hand, where you can see that sometimes you're not going to end up in the best contract. So what if your partner has that? Generally balanced 7 count.
Oh, this is your partner's hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, responder.
And you have 4 hearts to the queen included. All right. So if your partner opens a no trump, what are you doing with that hand? You're passing, right? You're not strong enough to invite.
Right?
Yeah. Where are you going, right? You don't have a game, right? Even if a partner has a max, you're a little bit shy of being interested in game. So you're passing 1 no, right? Well, if partner had opened a heart, you would have a bid with that hand, wouldn't you? You'd be raising hearts, whatever your raise was. Whether it was a normal raise to 2 hearts or a Bergen raise because of the 4th heart, well, whatever your partnership agreement is. The idea is that one way or another you'd find your heart fit. Whether or not you would get to game, and game is not a bad proposition on these cards, it's really just, it's pretty much 50-50. You probably need the king of hearts to be on side. But whether you end up in game or not is not so much relevant, is you're playing in no trump versus you're playing in hearts. Well, I think we can look at these 2 hands and say, one no trump could be a struggle, right? What if the defense starts off with a diamond lead and they clear out your diamond stopper early on this hand? Then you've got to give up the lead at some point, right? I mean, the heart finesse might work. You might be able to run off your hearts and then you'll make one no, but what if the heart finesse doesn't work and you give up the lead? And by the way, the ace of clubs is still out there too. Well, here come the diamonds. In practice, you'll probably make one no, but it's not going to be the best scoring contract, I don't think, because you're just not going to take so many tricks. I think you're going to take 9 or 10 tricks in hearts most of the time. You're unlikely to take 9 or 10 tricks in no trump on this hand. Unless you get some help from the defense. But so, I want you to be able to see that it is not, that it is not without drawbacks. Ultimately, I think you're going to make your life a lot easier by opening a no trump with the hand on the left. And I'll take my chances of missing a superior heart fit.
Okay, so there's no way you're going to tell us how to fix this, right?
If there were a simple fix for it, everybody would be playing that convention, right?
How about a difficult fix?
Right? I mean, it's just like so many of the things that we talk about it, if there were truly just one answer, if there were one system or one set of conventions that were absolutely superior, we'd all be playing the exact same system, right?
Would you pass
So,
that?
this hand here? Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not bidding with a balanced 7 count. In fact, some of my partners have been surprised in our club games. I actually, at match points in particular, teams is different because teams you're going to be a little pushier if you think there might be a game. But actually, most balanced 8 counts, I pass 1 no if I can't transfer into open statement. And I will tell you that, you may have seen this. I don't know if it's come up for us or not. But yeah, it's. I usually find that I'm right, and I'm willing to miss an occasional game where the cards lie just perfectly. We talk about wanting 25. We talk about let's be in game with 25 high card points when partner opens a no trump, right? So I know that everybody's automatically wants to invite every time they pick up 8 points when partner opens a no trump. But if you don't find a fit in a suit through statement or transfer, and you end up playing a no trump and you're both balanced and it ends up being 15 to 17 opposite 8, it's actually really hard to get the tricks you need on a lot of those hands. So I find it's better to go a little on the conservative side there.
Do you give 8s and 9s and 10s any credit in that kind of hand?
10s for sure. But I still, if I'm making any sort of forward going motion with a 7-point hand, it's not flat. It's got some distribution to it. It's got a 5 or 6 card major or singleton or something, where I'm pretty confident we're going to play in a suit. So
When you count no trump, is that only high card points, not
just high card points, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Your distribution isn't really worth much to you, especially when both hands are balanced, right? In a case like this, when you pick up the hand on the right and partner opens a no trump, you know that you're both balanced. You know that nobody has a singleton or a void, and at least we don't think so. So, I do think that that with a hand like this, you're going to want to open a no trump. Now, you get to use your judgment a little bit And I'm going to give you a hand that you might open a no trump. But before you do so, give this one a little thought. I'm changing the hand a little bit. A little different texture to it. So the first question is, does that hand have no trump points and does it have no trump shape?
Yes and yes.
Okay, so it meets the criteria. So theoretically, we open a no trump if that's our agreement, right? If we're like, okay, yeah, we're fine. 5-card major's okay, we open a no trump. Does anybody here have a problem with bidding a no trump with that hand?
So strong.
I agree. Did y'all hear Nina?
It's too strong.
It's 17 high card points, but does that hand not look a little too good for one no? That hand, that's a great hand. First of all, your 5-card heart suit is King, Queen, Jack, 10. Okay. Better than Ace, Jack, 10, 5th, like we looked at before. And all of your side cards outside of that heart suit, aces and kings. Good controls. I will tell you that I never open that hand one no. It's too good. You look at it and you say, ah, yes, textbook bid, one no, 15 to 17 balanced. But what I'm afraid of is, and I realize that this hand doesn't fit with that one, but if I have a hand similar to this, a 7-point hand with, say, an ace in it and a fit, now I'm very concerned about missing game if I open a no trump. So the solution with a hand like this is treat it like an 18 count. Open this hand to heart. And then if partner gives you that potentially problematic rebid of a spade, jump to 2 no. It's okay to do that. If you have chained yourself to the high card point ranges and you're not willing to evaluate, then you're playing losing bridge. I'm going to jump to 2 no and take my chances if we end up getting a little too high because partner responded light. But I can give you slightly different hands that very ordinary looking 6 or 7 counts that are going to easily produce 10 tricks and hearts opposite a hand like that. So I'm just too afraid of missing game. I'm too afraid of bidding, of bidding one no and seeing partner pass. And of course, if partner bids something else, if partner bids 2 over 1 or something like that, bids 2 clubs or 2 diamonds, you're never going to have a problem, right? Because then you're not missing a game.
Okay,
And you might
if
be
we
probing
respond
first lane.
one no trump,
So if we get a 1 no response, what would we do with this hand? That's a reasonable question.
Okay, you have to bid.
What is everybody doing next with that hand?
2 clubs. 2 no.
I heard it over here.
2 clubs. It's,
I thought I heard it.
it's forcing.
She said 2 no.
2 no.
Oh, wait.
So 2 no actually means the same thing on this auction, off of forcing no trump. 2 no is usually 18. And since we're treating this hand like it's 18, that's your bid. If it's not strong enough for 2 no, you would have to bid 2 clubs. And 2 clubs is non-forcing, by the way. Right? The opener's rebid after the forcing no trump is non-forcing. But yeah, you can still bid 2 no. Your bid actually doesn't change here. It's just not on this particular auction. It's not a jump. Since partner bid 1, you can't actually jump, but it shows the same hand. And if we go back to our system agreements, which is if we're saying that we open a no trump with 15 to 17, you can't, in theory, you can't have a balance 15 to 17 when you open a heart in the first place, right? Because you would have already opened that hand to no trump instead. So, right? So if you're balancing your 12 to 14, you're not strong enough to do that. And if you're balancing your 15 to 17, you had a different opening. All this stuff fits together. It really does. All right, well, why are we talking about all this? We're supposed to be talking about puppet statement, right? All right, well, it's all of this that necessitates puppet statement. That's why we need the convention. The danger, as we saw, with this hand over here, that passed one no and missed a heart fit. And again, it could still happen. With a weaker hand, again, you're not always gonna find your major suit fit when it's there. But you would like to, as responder, be able to find out if opener has a 5-card major, right? You'd also like to find out if opener has a 4-card major. You want to know both. So that's where puppet statement comes in. It allows you to find both your 4-4 major fits and your 5-3 major fits. Now, it's not perfect. It's not going to cover every hand. One of the things about puppet statement, it is game forcing. So when partner opens a no trump, if you are thinking about using puppet statement, you're typically going to need your 10 points that you would have to force the game opposite a no trump. So you can't always use it. You're not going to have puppet statement available to you when you're only inviting game. So those 8 or 9 point hands that you want to invite, well, you can check for a 4-card major. You can use your regular statement, but you might not be able to find out if the opener actually has a 5th card in that major. Again, it's not perfect. Every now and then there's going to be a hand that slips through the cracks, but not very often. So, what we want to deal with today as we talk about puppet statement is the bid, the actual puppet bid that is the inquiry about a 4 or 5 card major. How does the no trump opener respond to that? Why it's called puppet. That's actually an important part of the discussion. And what you gain or lose and with it, and what situations, a few situations where you might not use it. And by the way, I have called it on the handout. This is actually something I just started playing with in the past year. I don't know that it has any official name. I just call it simplified puppet statement. You might see some older books that talk about puppet statement as originally conceived. This is just a shade different. So if you have in the past, or if at some point in the future you are reading in a book about puppet statement, and it was something that was published more than a few years ago, because as far as I know, this is a relatively new take on puppet statement, you might read something that is just a little different. Not very different, but just a little different. But I figured what I've started playing, because it's actually easier, I figured I might as well teach you what I've started playing recently. And it's not very different. So we want to start with, well, what is the puppet bid? And for the moment right now, we're just talking about 1 no openings. Puppet can be played over a 2 no opening. I generally don't anymore, but it can be used over 2 no as well. It's just it's a little trickier. Everything with a 2 no opening is trickier because you've lost so much of your bidding space. Yeah. So the bid that we're going to use for puppet statement is 3 clubs. And it doesn't replace regular statement. You're using it in addition. So sometimes you will be using regular statement 2 clubs, but if you use 3 clubs, it's puppet statement. Well, what does this mean, first of all, about that bid? Well, it means 3 clubs can't show clubs, right? We've now made it artificial. This also kind of fits with when we get into talking about our 4-suit transfers. Because if we're transferring to all 4 suits, when we get the minors in there as part of our transfer system, you're going to be showing clubs a different way anyhow. You'd be using 2 spades to show your club suit. So, and I don't know. Actually, I haven't thought about this since I haven't looked at the whole matrix for a while. In your system right now, and I know you know the answer to this, what would 3 clubs in your system be right now? Is it even defined?
Nope. It's blank on the convention.
It's
center.
blank.
Oh, my God.
Oh. It's funny. I know someone who used to be a director here in town several years ago. He moved to California. Probably none of you know Brandon Shoemaker. Brandon came from the school of he said no dead bids, no undefined bids. You can't have a bid in your system that is undefined. It's okay. You can have a bid in your system that is undefined. Just don't make that bid when you're playing, because your partner won't know what to do with it, right? Okay, yes. Well, all the better then. If 3 clubs doesn't have an alternate meaning as things stand now, it'll make it that much easier to give it a meaning and not worry about it hopefully being confused with anything else. So 3 clubs becomes your asking bid. And this is the part that's a little different from Puppet Stamen as originally conceived. Originally, 3 clubs asked, partner, do you have a 5 or a 4 card major? It was a question about both. Well, it turns out it's actually not necessary. So all you need to remember about 3 clubs in the simplified puppet is it asks one question. Partner, do you have a 5 card major? Pretty simple, huh? And if opener has a 5 card major, he bids it. So a 3 heart or a 3 spade response to the puppet bid says, yes, I have 5 of that major that I'm bidding. So if you are the person who is asking, and this is where you might not think about using some form of stamen opposite a no trump. But responder, what if your hand looks like that? Kind of a balanced 12 count. All right. Partner opens a no trump. You know you're going to game somewhere with that hand, right? We've got at least 27 points together. We definitely belong in a game. And your inclination with that hand normally might be, I'm just going to shoot out 3 no, because I don't have a 4 or a 5 card major, right? Mm-hmm. So you pick the hand up and you say, okay, no need to use stamen, no 4 card major. No need to transfer, no 5 card major. And you shoot out 3 no. But you want to hit the pause button on that for a second, because you might have an 8 card major fit. What if the opener has a 5 card spade suit? Well, it's quite likely if opener has a 5 card spade suit, while 3 no might end up playing fine, I think you would want to be in 4 spades if that fit is there, because you have the 8 card fit, and dummy does have a doubleton heart. Now it's possible that if opener has 5 spades and has kind of a weak heart holding, maybe a heart loser needs to get roughed in the dummy. Maybe spades is superior to 3 no. We don't know, but it doesn't hurt to check, right? So all you need to use puppet and ask about a 5 card major is a 3 card major, or 2 3 card majors. If you know you're going to 3 no anyhow, why not see if there's a spade fit along the way? So a hand like this is pretty easy to handle, really, right? So you'll bid 3 clubs, and you already have a plan. If partner's response is that, you will raise to 4 spades and play your game in spades. If partner shows a 5 card heart suit, you'll just go back to 3 no, right? Now, there's one other response that's part of the structure here. And this is just like regular statement. What if the opener bids 3 diamonds? What is 3 diamonds? I don't have a 5-card major. So it really just resembles regular Stayman, right? Except we're discussing a 5-card major rather than a 4-card major. That's the only difference. 3 hearts, I have 5 hearts. 3 spades, I have 5 spades. 3 diamonds, I don't have a 5-card major. 3 diamonds does not, however, deny a 4-card major. Now, with this hand, you don't care, right? You only care if partner has 5 spades. Otherwise, you don't have an 8-card major fit. So with this particular hand, doesn't matter. But what if we give responder a different hand? And this is the kind of hand I think where I feel like Puppet Stayman really shines, because you actually can deal with both. So here you have 11 points. You're still going to game opposite a no trump, right? And you have 4 spades and 3 hearts. So conceivably, you have a major fit either place, right? You could have a 4-4 spade fit. You could have a 5-4 spade. Yeah, you actually could have a 9-card spade fit, right? That's a possibility. You could have an 8-card heart fit. And you're game forcing, right? We know you're going to game. So we can start with Puppet Stayman here. And the nice thing about this is that you get a second chance to find either fit. Okay, so you asked with Puppet Stayman. If partner bids 3 hearts, you'll raise to 4 hearts, right? With a known 5-3 heart fit. If partner bids 3 spades, you'll raise to 4 spades. You like that even better. 9-card spade fit. What if partner gives you the bid that, at least at this point, is still ambiguous? All right, so partner bids 3 diamonds, which says only I have no 5-card major. So what did we do at that point of the auction from this side of the table?
3 spades.
Right. Well, first of all, we rolled out hearts, right? We said, okay, we have no better than a 7-card heart fit, so we probably don't want to play 4 hearts. By the way, this is the kind of stuff that, going back to, I know a book that keeps coming up, I meant to bring it with me today, Kit Woolsey's Language of Bridge. He talks about this idea of, what he calls hitting the target. Going through this process where you start off with all of these possible final contracts, level and straight. And as you go through your bidding process, you start eliminating possible contracts and narrowing down to, okay, what are the realistic contracts? So like that's what you're doing here, right? When partner comes back and bids 3 diamonds and says, I don't have a 5-card major, you can say, in your head, by the way, don't do it out loud at the table when you're doing it, as much as you want to. This game would be easier if we could talk to ourselves aloud at the table, right? So you would say, okay, I am eliminating 4 hearts from consideration. The possible final contracts are now 3 no or 4 spades, right? Pretty easy. We probably only started, when we picked up this hand, we knew we wanted to be in game. We also knew we weren't interested in slam. So the narrowing down process was very easy here. When we picked up this hand, we thought, okay, what are the possible contracts? 4 hearts, 4 spades, 3 no, probably ends there. Yeah, you have 4 clubs, but is 5 clubs, even if partner has clubs with you, are you really excited about 5 clubs? No, not really. You can sort of, it's technically a possible contract. We probably won't be visiting the minor seats on this auction. So 3 diamonds says no 5-card major, but does not deny a 4-card major. which means that you could still have a spade fit. So, could you bid 3 spades next and have that tell partner, I have 4 spades. I know you don't have a 5-card major, but do you have 4 spades? That would work. Now we are into the puppet part of puppet statement. To show your 4 spades, you don't bid spades.
You did the other one.
You bid the other one.
Oh, God.
This is probably the one part of the convention where disaster could loom. This is the one part of it that is maybe not intuitive. But you actually bid 3 hearts to show your 4 spades. Why would you do that?
Because it's bridge.
To have,
Yeah, because it's bridge.
To have the
keep the
opener
declare
play
on
the
the
hand.
The strong hand.
Does everybody hear this?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so remember, everything about our no-trump systems, the whole structure, statement transfers, all that stuff, it's all crafted to have the stronger hand play the hand, declare the hand, have the stronger hand be concealed as often as possible. And it's pretty close. I mean, when you play all of these gadgets, put them all together, it's pretty close. I mean, think about it. When was the last time partner opened a no trump and you declared the hand? It probably hasn't happened that often. And it's designed that way.
transfer to diamonds.
We don't play 4-way transfers.
Right.
We do a relay after two spades.
Mhm.
If clubs was the wrong suit.
Yeah, so that's one of the few situations where the weaker hand might declare it. It's possible. Again, it's not the end of the world. We just avoid it, wherever it might be avoided.
What happens when the longer suit is the hearts?
Right.
For a
Then you get a
responder.
spade.
So if you have 3 spades and 4 hearts,
Mhm.
in that case you're going to bid 3 spades, which
Okay.
tells opener, I have 4 hearts.
Of course.
And so at
Yeah,
this
it's
point,
not
you have passed the torch. You are no longer the captain. You have shifted captaincy back to the opening bidder and said, okay, partner, you place the final contract. So if the opener has spades, and actually, could the opener jump right to 4 spades and place the contract? They could. I think I would probably just bid 3 if I had the spade fit, just in case you're interested in slam over here. Conserve a little bidding space, right? I mean, you realize that you conceivably could set your trumps at the 3 level on this particular auction, right? If it's the other way around, you wouldn't be able to, right? If the bid was 3 spades and opener had to bid 4 hearts, that would be the only heart bid you could make. But here, in theory, you could bid 3 only spades. You wouldn't have to jump to 4. That would confirm a 4-4 spade fit. If the opener doesn't have 4 spades, they're just going to bid 3 now, which you will pass. So notice that however this auction develops, whether we end up playing 3 no or 4 hearts or 4 spades, the stronger hand is going to be declared in any situation. So that's where puppet gets its name. The 3 hearts is a puppet bid for the.
You alert it, but
It is alertable.
you don't have to, do you have to alert each?
3 clubs is alerted.
Each
That
setup.
bid and that bid are definitely both alertable because they're artificial. Now what's weird is that if you play puppet over 2 no, 3 clubs is not alertable.
Oh,
Weird.
The rebids are, but the 3 club bid is not. There are other reasons behind that. But over 1 no, because there's potentially a lot more variability to what people do over 1 no, and for some people 3 clubs will actually be clubs. For some people 3 clubs will be a different convention. There are lots of things you can do. You said, the blanks on, you said those lines on your convention card in that box, in the no trump box, the 4 lines, 3 clubs, 3 diamonds, 3 hearts, 3 spades.
Yeah.
They're just blank. The reason those are blank and there are no check boxes or suggestions like on other parts of the card as to what you might play is because people do so many different things. So it's like, you just got to fill in the blank. Right?
So do we fill that in now? 3 clubs is puppet?
So on that line, if you just write puppet statement or just puppet, it will
Puppet.
probably suffice.
And the rest are still
Um,
blank for now.
Yeah, the rest are still blank for now. That's fine.
Thank you.
Again, blank lines on the convention card are okay. This is a judgment-free zone.
So go through the 4 heart page.
Okay, so you want to go ahead and switch the hand, give it the actual hand.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take the same thing. We'll give you ace third of spades, and we'll give you queen jack fourth of hearts. Exact same strength and same shape, other than we flip the majors. Okay, so we're going through the same process. You'll start with your 3 clubs because you have a 4-card major and a 3-card major, right? If opener bids you 3 diamonds, saying I don't have a 5-card major, at this point you have now ruled out the spade suit. Opener could have 4 spades or 4 hearts, but doesn't have 5 of either. All right, so now what you want to do is show your 4 hearts. And you show your 4-card heart suit by puppeting. Is to puppet, is that a verb as well as a noun? So you puppet with 3 spades. And so now, now the opener's pretty much just stuck with one of 2 choices, right? With the heart fit that you have now implied by showing 4 hearts, opener could just bid 4 hearts. Now again, you don't have any other bidding space. You're already at game at this point, right? So if responder wants to make a slam try, you're going to have to take a call over the game level to do that, whether it's 4-0 or whether it's a Q bid or whatever. Obviously, this hand here isn't a slam try, but throw another king or so in the mix there, and you might be thinking about a slam. And with no heart fit, opener is pretty much cornered into 3-0. But that's fine. That's kind of where, when you picked up this hand, that's kind of where you thought you might be headed all along, right? But
So if the opener has only 3 cards in both majors, he just goes to no trump.
just bids 3-0, yeah.
Is he obligated to go to hearts if he has 4? Are there times when an 8-8, a 4-4 fit is not ideal in nature?
I think you should. Does everybody understand Nina's question? It's kind of in this realm of, and especially at match points, where no trump scores better, and that might matter. We're asking the question, well, does the opener, even with a known heart fit, should opener bid 4 hearts? On this kind of auction, yes, because you don't really know what the dummy looks like. And it is possible that the dummy has a singleton, or even here. Look, there may be no problem at all in the diamond suit. But this hand does have a worthless doubleton and diamonds, right? And what if the no trump bidder has only, say, ace third, right? Just one stop, and the defense leads a diamond. Well, I think you would be very glad at that point that you were playing 4 hearts, where you could rough a diamond in this hand if you needed to. So because the opener doesn't know, they know you've got your 4-card major, they don't really know what the rest of your hand looks like. You are probably generally balanced, but they don't know that for sure. So I think if you have the fit, you should play in your suit fit. Now, it certainly is the prerogative of responder, say with a hand like this. What if they look at this hand and say, my partner might have 5 spades, might have 5 hearts, we could have an 8-card major fit. I could use puppet stamen with this hand, right? And you could. You don't have a 4-card major, but you've got 2 3-card majors. So you could use your puppet stamen. Are you required to? No, If you pick up this hand and you're like, yeah, we might be missing a 5-3 fit, but I think I'm just going to bid 3-0 because I'm 4-3-3. I'm as flat as can be. Partner's never going to rough anything in this dummy if we play in a suit. 3-0 just looks like the spot. I personally would just jump to 3-0 with this hand. I wouldn't bother with puppet statement. You can, but if partner doesn't have a 5-card major, you're going to 3-0 anyhow, right? One of the things I really like about this hand and bidding 3-0 straight away is it gives the opponents very little information about your hand. I mean, are you always confident what to lead when you witness the auction 1-0, 3-0? The opponents have bid, they haven't bid any suits, they haven't shown any suits, they have implied nothing. They have implied, they didn't bid Stamen, so you don't even know if, you don't even know if there's a 4-card major in dummy. They didn't transfer them, and you figure that they would show their 5-card suit, right? So I kind of like just jumping to 3-0 with this hand and not worrying about puppet.
We usually say you should lead a major since they didn't show a major. Unless you have
a lot
really
of times
good
on
suit of your
that,
own.
so I would lean toward, when I see the auction 1-0, 3-0, if I have a decent major, yeah, I'm going to lead it. But I mean, that would probably be my lead against 3-0 in any case. Am I more inclined because of the auction to lead the major because they didn't pursue a major fit? Maybe, but there have been times where the opponents didn't find their 5-3 fit. And I led that suit because I wasn't in on the joke. I'm like, oh yeah, here I am. I've got 4 spades to the Jack 10-9, right? I have a sequence here. Looks like a natural lead.
Yeah.
So I lead the Jack of spades, and they win the trick. And they play spade, spade, spade. They can, and partner shows out the second time. I'm like, oh great, I found their 8-card fit. So it's but yeah, a lot of times I would lean toward that. But one of the nice things, and this is especially true with puppet statement, note that even if you do choose, and again, either is fine. Let's say with this hand you do choose to bid 3 clubs. Yeah, I'll go ahead and check. I've got ace third and queen jack third in the majors. I've got decent holdings. Maybe 4 of the major plays better. You don't have a doubleton anywhere, but maybe the opener has a doubleton, right? If they do have a 5-card major, then they must have a doubleton somewhere. Yeah. So even though you don't see any roughing in the dummy if you play in a suit, it's possible that your partner needs to rough a trick in their hand. Could happen. So certainly nothing wrong with asking. So let's say you ask for the 5-card major. And opener bids 3 diamonds. No 5-card major. Well, what are you doing at that point? You're going back to 3-0, right? The same bid that you may have thought about doing the first time. This is actually the part of this simplified puppet statement that I like better and why it has kind of gained some traction. Have you really given the defense much information? Have you really given them much more information than if you just shot out 3-0 straight away? Not really. Because even though the opener denied a 5-card major, who's to say they don't have 1 or both 4-card majors? And the defense might lead one of those majors, and I don't think that would bother you, would it? With queen jack third and ace third in the majors, it's not like you're really weak there. So, and by the way, this is the part that is different about the puppet statement. In the original puppet statement, if the opener if the opener didn't have, if the opener had a 4-card major, 3 diamonds guaranteed a 4-card major in the original puppet statement. It said, I don't have a 5, but I do have a 4. And if they didn't have a 4 or a 5, what did they do? They actually bid 3-0, which is kind of awkward to tell you the truth. Well, it's not awkward on this hand because you're fine with 3 no. But if opener has a borderline slam try, this is kind of awkward. But I actually think that this other method is superior, because if responder has a hand like this, where you don't care if opener has a 4-card major, then why not have an auction where the opener doesn't reveal that to the defenders, right? If the only way you're playing in a major is if the opener has 5, there's no reason to have your partner tell the opponents that they have 4 in one or both majors. Why reveal that? Because you know you want to play 3 now. So that's one of the benefits of this simplified method that I actually have really come to like. So, does anybody have any questions about the stuff we've gone through so far here?